Hey guys, Thomas Leroy here. Happy super full moon in Taurus. I understand that this is a very significant day, and of course, it is a very special day. Absolutely, and especially whenever you consider all that's happened and the transitions that are occurring, and then of course in conjunction with the transitions of the going on in the heavens. I understand that because I was checking up with the astrology just recently, seeing it about as valid as the pathetic word. I mean, the prophetic word, if not even more so. Because they can't just make up that. There is the actual stars and the constellations moving. And the only thing that they can make up is perhaps their personal interpretation of it. The same as a tarot reader might decide to throw a card out on the table and say, well, that means blah, 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 you know, rather than what the actual meaning of the card is. So that's the only thing you have to be watchful for. And then, of course, you have to be watchful for taking it too seriously because you just can't. The whole reason why the book, says you're not supposed to mess with divination and or even astrology. I mean, we're supposed to watch the heavens and keep watch for that and understand that about. And so perhaps maybe we were supposed to be able to look up in the skies and see things and say, oh, well, Pluto's in Aquarius for the next 20 years, and that'll mean this. And like have general influences. I always used to refer to the astrology as like the weather report. You check your sun sign thing for the week or whatever, and you've got the weather report. Basically, how things are supposedly the general influences that are at work. The forecast doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to be absolutely perfectly exactly what they say, right? But you can say there's going to be a general, feel to it. In other words, if there's a whole lot of rain predicted, you can at least expect cloudy skies, right? Probably so, or at least you could bet on it. Boy, aren't we having some silver gray out there today. I heard geese again this morning, which was absolutely bizarre because I went out and I looked at the sky yesterday and I said, yeah, it looks like it's here. Haven't heard geese in a while, and I think that was the last batch a week ago or so. And usually after there's no more geese, that means get ready because, the weather is coming. I was watching a guy or listening to a guy this morning who he does proclaim Christ, and but he does speak this other language of the witches and such, I guess, which I do too. I know all about the tarot. I know all about a whole lot of occult things, but that doesn't mean, and I also know that there's an awful lot there that is misleading people. And there's lots of reasons why you're not supposed to mess with it. And again, going back to the astrology thing, anyone who knows anything about divination know that there are divination junkies. And that those who divine the future can become those divination junkies. In other words, the pusher can become the victim of his own product. And I've seen it again and again and again and experienced it myself. Whereas you do not actually live your life, but instead you continue trying to analyze how to create a life and or to direct your life and or to avoid the things that is predicted that is coming into your life. In other words, you're not living your life because you're all about the divination, what's going on and how to design it. You see, living a life is very different from designing your best life or living your best dream or whatever that is, because living a life was a spiritual journey in itself. You see what I'm saying? Because of the discovery that you would make along the way and the experiences you would have with the various characters that you would meet. But of course, to have that kind of journey, you have to have that kind of outlook and that kind of heart. In other words, the kind of deal that was going on whenever I first went out west to go and check on a friend who I thought desperately needed my help. Well, they needed way more help than I could ever give, I'm pretty sure. But I digress, don't I? Happy full moon to you today. From what I understand, it's all about, are we going up or are we going down, or are you going to? Then they're saying, are you going to lift up those lower vibration things and blah. Well, the problem with trying to lift lower vibration things up is if they don't want to become higher vibration. So I'm talking about entities who are like they're anchored to the ground and that's it, and that's their function, I guess. And I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but So where's it all going? Well, I can tell you what the story is. The only story that's going on, the only story that's left out of the book, right, is my continuing to rise and high up, high in the skies, and my continuing to win and win and win and win. And after I'm done winning, then I'll win again. And it's just because I can't help but to win. You see, that's the story I've been given. It's win, 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 win. It's victory, 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 victory. I win and I rise and I keep on getting bigger and going higher. And the enemies against me, I experience the opposite. They continue to lose and they continue to experience defeat and failure, uh, and especially against me, and loss. And while I experience, gain, and they will get shorter and I'll get taller, and they'll get smaller and I'll get larger, and they'll get lower and I'll get higher, and that's the only story that's going on. It's we're we're going up. In other words, everything that decided that it was going to keep me down and keep me back is defeated. And because their power over us and their authority with us and everything, that was only simply a delusion, that they were a fantasy that they were provided. And now that's over and done with. So yeah, we're going on up. The continuing on as we have been for the last week or two, continuing to grow stronger and with that thicker and thicker skin that makes us all but, well, eventually shall be making us completely and totally invulnerable to all the forces of darkness and their weaponry, their energies and coercions. Their ability to affect us adversely is being eliminated completely and totally. And that is a major part of the story because, and it's inevitable. There's no stopping that. That's just going to continue on because it is an integral part of the story, part of our operations. And if that weren't true, and didn't, if that didn't happen, then I think I'm pretty sure the only thing left is the end of it all, and I'd be okay with that because we're not going to be susceptible to these others that are not of the light, not of the life, not of heaven. We're just simply not going to be susceptible to any of their coercion. They all of their ability to coerce us or to affect us adversely in any way, shape, or form is just basically being eliminated now by one means or the other. Whether it is our skins being made thicker and our shields, are being strengthened, um, or their power is just waning. Yeah, I know there is something that some parts of it has to do with the alignments of the heavens and the gates that are open at this point in time, and how the energy is flowing from one section. Or it's just like whenever you talk about the astrology thing, they say that the moon is moving into Capricorn. Well, that's great for Capricorn. Not the moon, but the Venus. Venus is moving into Capricorn. Yeah, it's great for Capricorns in general. Um, that they'll all, get to feel a little bit more of that and get to feel a little bit more of the love and a little bit more they'll be able to understand better romance and their natural role as a woman or a man, and of course again all the things that Venus rules over, luxury, comfort, all that stuff, if you're familiar with it. Um, but and of course, and there are negative aspects too, because again, generally speaking, Capricorns, again, in general, tend to be rather business like, and may even use a business like logic with their romance. But they're not immune to love or romance. That's the thing. While a Capricorn may be more business like, that doesn't mean that they don't feel love and or have those yearnings and or feel the same that any other does. It's just that they may temper that with their other practical side, you could say. or in a very negative dark sense, it could all be very hoary, right? Yeah. So fear not, though. Venus goes into Sagittarius next month. So it goes back to being a little bit more happy and fun, a lot more playful, I think, probably. More like a Taurus, maybe. Um, where are we going? What are we doing? Well, we just told you we're going up. And I'll address the what has occurred over the last 24 hours or so in a different video. But yeah, and we heard it again, this thing about, oh, cleaning up the system and everything. And I tell you, it gets to the point where, you can try and try and try and since your only rewards is not anything good, you get to the point where it's like, why, shouldn't I, maybe I should just get, today's full moon, maybe I should go get me a fifth of Southern Comfort and a pack of good smoke, good tobacco. Have me a couple shots and a couple cigarettes, and wait a minute, would that raise or lower my vibe? How about a big old steak covered in bacon and eggs or something? Do you think that's going to raise or lower my vibe? What I've been told is it doesn't matter what I do. My vibe's going to continue to rise. This body's going to continue to go up and become more and more the skies, because that's our home. And it makes perfect sense. This other stuff that it seems that others have been discovering about us or admitting about us and so on and so forth, about the, I guess what they're describing as a duality. That's messed up. All right. Well, yeah, we're just going to continue on. And yeah, you can expect the effects of the full moon to be echoing a week or two ahead of time and or up to a week or two past, depending on where you are in your journey and how you're relating to all the influences and so on. And so the full effects you may not feel for a couple of weeks. But that doesn't mean that, just because the full moon is hitting and it's about, a delineation point, apparently is what they're talking about. Doesn't mean you can't go on a fast now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you can't change your diet and switch over to, vegetable products and stuff for, a while. And do the other things, meditate or whatever you do, prayer, to raise your vibration. And so, don't give up hope on any of it. Just continue on the path, trying to go up and trying to be the better person. All right, guys. Thanks so much. And God love you. And thanks so very much for all your help and your love and your support.